Hello everyone! Welcome back to another 2v2 Warhammer battle. This is going to be the Empire with some Wood Elf allies facing off against two greenskin hordes. So I took a pretty aggressive Empire build here, and against two greenskins players, that may work, may not, I don't know, we'll see. But they're going to be led by the Balthazar Gelt, the one and only, obviously the best legendary lord in the game. We also have two Reiksguard, three Spearmen that have been upgraded a little bit to buff their stats and leadership. Main line going to be three Great Swords, two Flagellants, one covering each flank. And then my aggressiveness is going to come out with three Free Company Militia Vanguard deployed, and then also three Outriders with grenade launchers. For my allies' army, we have a most melee force being led by the male Glade Lord here. I believe there's not on a mount. Yeah, they're not on a mount. And they have a bunch of Eternal Guards with shield versions in the front. We have one Archer, I think, only. Yeah, we have one Glade Guard with the Hagbane tips. Then we have more Eternal Guard, then a line of Wildwood Rangers, which are going to be the heavy hitters. We also have two War Dancers back here, more Eternal Guard, I'm sorry, two War Dancers with Azra Spears over here, and then one Wild Rider with the shield version. For one Greenskin player, which is going to be, I think, everything over here, we have a group of Night Goblin Squighoppers. We have a group of Orc Boy Biggins. The main line is going to be made up of mostly Orc Biggins with two normal Black Orcs, and then the Crimson Killers being led by Grimgore Ironhide, and we also have the Ragnarok Queen, and the Rusty Errors. And then I think the Savage Orc Biggins belong to the second player. So we have the Savage Orc Biggins. We have a lot of cav for this force. So we have two Goblin Wolf Riders, two Forest Goblin Spider Riders, two Orc Boar Boys, normal Boar Boys, the Savage Orc Biggin, two of them, and then they're all kind of mixed up here. We also have a Azag the Slaughterer, then one group of Goblins, one group of Orc Boys, and then four artillery pieces, two Gobrok Lobbers, and two Doom Diver Catapults. That is a lot of different units. So yeah, that is the battle, and I had to pause here because, of course, I have my units Vanguard deployed, so stuff is about to pop off pretty quickly. So my Vanguard deployed Free Company Militia are going to try and get a shot into the Forest Goblin Spider Riders before they have time to react, so we're going to get some damage in on them. And, you know, I doubt this player was expecting to have 6 different ranged units in their phase at the very beginning of the battle, and they're going to start moving their entire army up towards my Free Company Militia, but they don't have them running. And I'm going to try and pull back the Free Company Militia in between shots, because it takes, I think, 10 seconds to reload. So you move them for about, 10 seconds, then you have them stop, do a salvo, and move back, same thing again. The 3 Outriders are going to move on to the flanks here, because I wanted to try and actually do a melee charge very quickly on the Doom Tower Catapults and try to rout them. But these Orc Boar Boys and then the infantry is going to be going over here to support them. We get another solid shot on the Forest Goblin Spider Riders who are still not running. I am keeping my Reiksguard, moving up our melee forces, and Balthazar Gelt's going to be moving up here as well. What may have happened is that this player right-clicked on my units, but they may have it set up so that you have to double right-click for them to charge, and so they just started walking instead. So that's why they were getting shot up here. And now they're finally going to start charging, but then they move back. I'm not entirely sure what's going on with that. And now this entire army is going to be moving towards my Outriders, so I'm going to try and pin down these Orc Boy Boys with the Reiksguard, but we're actually going to just chase them into a circle, and they're going to get into our Outriders instead. But we're going to be just kind of chasing them around this rock formation. Going to get 2 spears here and here. Main line is just going to be going up here. You can see we're trying to engage Scott Wolf Riders with some Flagellants. We're going to be supporting with our gunners here, here, and the other one I'm going to be pulling over here. Meanwhile, my ally is in a full charge here. The front line of Eternal Guard have already been busted through by the 3 Black Orcs in total. The Rusty Errors, the 3 Biggins. You see the nice Squighoppers got into these War Dancers. Did actually a surprising amount of damage. And Grimgore Ironhide just kind of busted through the center. The Ragnarok Queen also busted through the center, but is now fighting kind of like a... I don't want to call it like a Death Star, it's not, but it's a very large amount of armor-piercing Wildwood Riders who are sticking around their Glade Lord, who gives them +8 melee attack. So you can see they have 49 melee attack against the Ragnarok Queen. So after these Orc Boar Boy Biggins and these Orc Biggins rout, and they will against this much damage, this Queen's going to be left by herself. But you can see on the right and the left flanks, the Black Orc, or not Black Orc player, but the Orc player with a bunch of Black Orcs is actually doing really well. They're wrapping up the right flank, and they're going to be wrapping up the left flank against these Wildwood Rangers. Meanwhile, over here, my grenade launchers are just going to be firing into this massive amount of infantry who are trying to kill my Reiksguard. So I'm going to keep the Reiksguard here since they're holding back all of these forces. We're going to pound them with Balthazar Gelt and a bunch of grenade launchers. Then I'm going to start throwing in some spearmen here and here because the Reiksguard are about to fall, and I want to keep these guys pinned as long as possible. Their range, I'm sorry, their God, their Cav force ran into my Flagellants to try and get through into the Sterling's Revenge, who are just shooting them up, so they are going to be routing. They're going to be routing out this way, and they're trying to be led by the Night Goblin Shaman, but they don't really have much of a melee presence. So they're going to actually get kind of overwhelmed by the Flagellants and the Great Swords. And you can see we have kind of like this full wraparound of this greenskin player, which doesn't happen often as an Empire. These Reichsguard chased off those Orc boys, and now they're coming back to try and assist against this clump of troops who are just getting massacred by these grenade launchers and Gelt's AoE spells. Doing some friendly fire here as well on the Spearmen, but that's okay. They know what they signed up for. Flagellants over here trying to get into the artillery and some Savage Orc Biggins backed up by the Great Swords. And we are just doing a massive amount of damage on this poor greenskin player. Their artillery didn't have much of a chance to do anything because we were a very aggressive build. And all of their cav is pretty weak to our army. Even the Sterling's Revenge can take a charge of Goblin Wolf Riders. Like, they're all kind of designed to kill low attack units like that. Meanwhile, back over here, the Arachnoid Queen, I didn't show it, but after the Biggins and the Cav was routed off, the Arachnoid Queen had to fight these 2 Wildwood Rangers and Eternal Guard with the Glade Lord, and she just melted. The Arachnoid Queen definitely needs other bodies to take hits for her, just like a giant, and really just like a lot of large creatures. Like, they really need a bunch of fodder around them to take the hits. So she melted pretty quickly and is routed back over here, but she will make a return to battle. Meanwhile, on the left and right flank of the Wood Elf player, the left flank was getting pummeled, but now it's being reinforced by this group of Wildwood Rangers, so they're kind of pushing the Black Orcs back. On the right flank, though, Grimgor and the Crimson Killers did manage to deal a lot of damage to their cav and to the War Dancers that were located over here. And now you can see that these War Dancers try to pierce the lines, but they're getting stopped by the Night Goblin Squighoppers and the Orc Biggins, because they're trying to stop the Rusty Arrows, but they're not going to be able to hold long enough to do that. But now that the Arachnoid Queen has been dealt with, and these guys have dealt with, I think this is their second Black Orc group that they're going to be chewing through, because they're in such a dense formation and they just have overwhelming numbers. They've already managed to snipe off 3 very important units, but basically 1 at a time. So that's really gone into this Wood Elf player's favor, and now they're going to be facing off against Grimgor Ironhide, the Crimson Killers, and what remains of their infantry. Arachnoid Queen will be pulled back to this battle here soon, but now since my fight is basically over and I'm just kind of withdrawing now to assist my ally, I'm going to be throwing in these grenade launchers into the Rusty Arrows, and Balthasar Gelt's going to be doing a spell too. Now this is a little bit of maybe friendly fire. I sent these guys off to hit the Rusty Arrows, and then I went back to microing my army because I'm trying to pull everything over here and also kill routing units. And then I came back and I was like, oh, there's a Wild Rider there getting shot at by grenade launchers. So hey, you know, a little bit of friendly fire never hurt anybody, right? Right? Meanwhile, over here, Grimgor and the Crimson Killers doing what they can against a lot of Wood Elf units. Now the thing is, there's less units here than you may think, just because, like, look at all of them. They are all almost dead. They are at the very end of their life. And Crimson Killers are pretty brutal. Grimgor is obviously pretty brutal. And that, again, that Arachnoid Queen, here she comes. She was getting shot at by these Blade Guard, who are now getting hit by one of her children. But she's going to be coming back. And now here I'm going to cast a Plague of Rust on the Crimson Killers. A little late, because now they're actually routing. Probably should have cast that on Grimgor, actually, instead of the Crimson Killers. But Balthasar Gelt's over here continuing routing a Black Orc, and my Outriders have shattered the Rusty Arrows. Again, the rest of my army is still moving across the water, and now my Rusty Arrows are going, my grenade launcher is going to go into the Black Orcs, or Crimson Killers, and also these Orc Biggins who are still up and operational. Grimgor and the Queen are now, well, the Queen specifically is terrorizing some of this infantry, including the Glade Lord, and they are doing some really good damage to what is remaining of the Elf infantry. But that is okay, because we have reinforcements en route. We have 2 Great Swords nearby. The 3 Free Company Militia, I'm going to just kind of keep back here to hold off any cav that comes back over to try to help their ally, including Azhag, and if the Night Goblin Shaman comes over here too. So these are going to just form a defensive line. Going to keep these guys nearby, and I think maybe a Spearman nearby in case they need melee support. Meanwhile, back over here, Balthasar Gelt is still chasing off a Black Orc. I'm getting more Reichsguard over here. And yeah, my Great Swords are now dealing with Grimgor Ironhide, who is fighting the Glade Lord, and who would win without help. The Glade Lord is not set up to really kill Grimgor. And our secondary Great Swords are going to go into this Arachnoid Queen. Reichsguard, I think I'm actually just going to kind of keep out of this fight, because there's already a lot of units there. Meanwhile, the grenade launcher is still just running off these Orc Biggins. They shattered the Crimson Killers. Balthasar Gelt's going to be coming over here soon after they finish off the Black Orcs. And now my Free Company Militia are going to be shooting at the Night Goblin Shaman, who's chasing this Flagellants. You see the Great Swords are brought down, what was left of the Arachnoid Queen, and now we're going to bring down Grimgor, who did manage to almost kill the Glade Lord. He went off routing, but did come back. So my Wood Elf ally did suffer a lot of damage. Some friendly fire there towards the end to the Wild Riders, but you can see that the Greenskin Horde has been basically dismantled. All they have left is Azhag, some very weak Cav, and a Night Goblin Shaman who's going to be getting shot up, and I'm going to deal with them with the Flagellants. And then we're going to turn back our army and move back over towards this way. Right here, I was going to try and shoot up Azhag with the Free Company Militia, but they are going to rout. So good game to everybody. Now, this player, Pie Lovers Gaming, definitely was not expecting a Vanguard deployed force. So that does get into your mind, because then you're all of a sudden like, oh shit, I gotta react, and then you can make mistakes. Two, I think this army would work if they had incorporated their two armies together. This player brought a very strong infantry force. This player brought a very strong quick attack force and artillery, which is not bad if teamed up with them. The problem is, when I came in and hit this player, they split up. One went off to fight the Wood Elves, and the other one stayed to try and kill me. But this army did not really have what it needed to take out my army, which is why I kind of wiped the floor with them. They just didn't have enough bodies to protect their artillery, which they put a lot of money into, and their Cav, they had a lot. And against certain Empire armies, I think this would work. You know, very range-reliant armies, which I guess I do have a lot of range damage. But the thing is, I had a lot of units nearby to protect them, and my Free Company Militia are still very strong in melee in comparison to, like, Goblin Wolf Riders and Forest Goblin Spider Riders. And the Reichsguard just mopped the floor with Orc Boar Boys. So, again, if this build was incorporated and they just had one major horde, I think it would have been much better for them if these were more protected. But that was kind of a weakness in this particular battle, and again, why my troops got a ton of kills against this player, because we attacked him at the start, and again, just the makeup was not really designed to build to, you know, break us. And also, we're being led by Balthasar Gelt, so I mean, like, that's almost GG, right? Like, he's stronger than Karl Franz, Grimgor, like, all those pansies. And then for Elfin Locks, the Wood Elf player, they had a large amount of damage thrown their way, but they also dealt a ton of damage too. Almost brought down the Arachnar Queen. Well, basically, they brought down the Arachnar Queen by themselves. They basically brought everything down by themselves. By the time I got there, Daddy's boy's army was also almost annihilated. So, like, these two armies just killed each other. Just a bloody battle, massacre, and I was just lucky enough to still have a large army to come in and kind of just finish up here and there. But yeah, so very bloody battle between Elfin Locks and Daddy's Boy. You can see the ton of kills here. Grimgor shining with 81. These Crimson Killers getting a ton of kills, which is cool to see because you don't really see them brought that much. And the Orc Biggins, I think, are a very solid choice against Wood Elves, just because their infantry isn't really built to kill them. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the Empire Wood Elf alliance against the Horde of Grimgor and Azhag. And let's go watch a cinematic view of the battle.
Do your duty. We obey. My God, Mirage! Yes, my lord. To battle for the Heldenhammer.
So the idea about this army is for my ranged units, like, you know, like my grenade launchers in the Free Company, to focus fire on really key important targets that have been hit by Gelt's armor debuff. The thing is, against this army, there really wasn't that type of target. Like, none of these units are really that heavily armored, so I didn't really utilize it that way, but that is the idea behind this army, is Gelt debuffs, and our range just focuses it down and murders it. I really want to show this. Like, this Greenskin player did a really good job at just totally breaking the Wood Elf infantry almost instantly. Like, these Orc Biggins and the Arachnar Queens, the rest of the area, they just charged through that center really well.
We serve the Emperor. Seeking enemy. Taking position.
And they do a nice root charge here on these Wildwood Rangers too. Mike's guard. You know, they never fire where you want them to. Like, I wanted them to fire right here. And of course they fire at the edge. And I was targeting units, like, over here. Yeah, a little friendly fire there. A little bit. Where's Grimgor at? There you are. What up, Wolf Riders?
Sigmar guides us.
I think we get a shot off here.
We serve the Emperor. Look out, spellcaster. Yes, sir.
Or maybe we don't.
In the name
Maybe we don't.
of the
Never mind.
twin-tailed comet.
I lied. They're just gonna sit there and look pretty.
Battle. Yes, sir, Ricky. Take your position. To battle. Shalia, protect us.
That man is gonna get promoted.
Follow to battle.
And these poor orc biggins, man.
At speed. Yes, my lord. For the twin-tailed comet. Go! Moving now.
Curse of the big bad moon. It's gonna go off that way. Just like all vortex spells.
Go! Sigma Geyser! To battle! Go! Yes, sir! Quickly! Moving now!
Ooh. Last spell you're gonna be casting. I love Free Company Militia. I think they're just one of the coolest units in the game. I don't use them too much, but I think they're awesome. They're just awesome looking. Yeah, they just got pistols and swords. How do you not like that? And they're also super cheap. They're super cheap. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this battle, everybody. I will see you all in the next one. Take care.